Hi, I'm Dr. Cindy Collins. I am a registered dietitian and a health psychologist working in oncology. How can I be sure that my doctor is hearing me? This is a really important and a very common question. And sometimes, actually, this question is being asked after there might be a little frustration, or maybe somebody's actually wondering, is my doctor really hearing me? Maybe you think that they're not following what you've asked, or they're not as concerned with your questions, as you might be. So I think what's really important to know that your doctor is hearing you, believe it or not, is to listen. And let me explain why I say that. If you start really listening to him or her, then you will know that they're saying things that have to do with what you've been asking. You'll also start a pattern with them of actually listening to what they've said and then start repeating back what you've understood. So when you listen to them, repeat back what you think you've heard. You might even say something like, okay, just so that I'm sure I'm understanding you, this is what you've said. They will very likely then follow suit with you. They'll do the same thing, and they'll know that they should make sure that they're hearing what you've said, and they'll repeat it back. So it's a really interesting kind of a trick. It's a trick in conversation. One way to make sure your doctor knows you're hearing is to do a little bit of what we call active listening. So while they're talking, be sure you say, uh-huh, or okay, or do you mean this? Just some quick interjections like that. And that starts a partnership with your doctor where they also will start to indicate to you that they've heard you. So it's okay also if you get to a point with your doctor and you're still not sure, for you to say to them, I'm not sure if I'm explaining this well, or I'm not sure that I've said this how I need to say it, or I'm not sure if you've really heard what I'm asking you. Do you mind if we talk about that again? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like any other conversation, and they'd really much rather know that they are hearing what you want, hearing what you're asking for, hearing your questions. Another good idea is to write them down. So often, if you just put your questions on a small index card or a small piece of paper, and then you walk into the doctor with that, they'll even ask you, hey, can I just see that? Or I see you brought some questions today, or let me see what you want me to address today. It's a great way to start the partnership with your doctor, that you'd like them to hear you, and you also want to make sure you hear them. Another really important thing is to be sure you're being heard. Look for some eye contact. Now, these days, we're using computers, of course, to take notes in, and a lot of doctors are sometimes even turned from you while they're talking with you. So do what you can to get them turned towards you. Sometimes a little bit of silence will do that, because they'll turn to see if you're listening. And then wait until you have eye contact, and then you'll know that they're actually hearing you. You might need to say something, address them by their name, Dr. So-and-so. They'll turn to look at you, get the eye contact, and then speak with them. So that's one way to make sure you're being heard in the immediate. And then to make sure that later what you've asked for, or what you've expressed to your doctor, is being heard, say it yourself, and then say, are we on the same page? Or do we understand the same thing? Or is this going to work for us? And that way they know you're asking for a back and forth. So all of these are some tips to make sure that your doctor is really hearing what you've been asking for.